Welcome to Full Scope, a podcast designed to analyze the games that we love, the headlines of music, and the movies we can't forget.
So
I'm your
far,
host,
so
Wellington
good.
Burns, and my counterpart, Savon Morris. How's it going, man?
So far, so good.
They don't even know what we're saying.
So far, so good, brother. What's going on, man?
Absolutely, man. Back. The
Yeah,
duo is back. The
yeah.
boys are back in town.
The
Boys are
boys
back in
are.
town.
Wellington's back in town.
But yeah, Wellington's back in town.
Yeah, I'm glad you got that vacation, bro. You needed it.
Finally got a vacation. Like I was saying earlier, I'm gonna leave it for the green room about my my
Okay.
vacation time. So we got the perfect time
Okay.
to leave it for
Yeah.
that. But obviously we're gonna do some finals discussion. Gervonta Davis, his latest win. Obviously thoughts on JJ Redick securing that the Lakers bag. Finally got that 4-year deal, and the Ken and Friends concert and some album reviews after that. But to start off with thoughts on the Celtics winning the title in Game 5. Boston won 106-88, which is their 18th championship total. Jason Tatum had 31 points, 11 assists, also 8 rebounds. Jaylen Brown had 21 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. Plus was voted the Finals MVP. And this was an interesting outcome, obviously, because the Celtics, the scoring, it was rampant. Peyton Pritchard, he had that half court buzzer beater, and
Yeah.
from the jump, this looked like the type of game where the Celtics perimeter shooting was on point. Tatum
Yes.
was the most aggressive I had seen him, honestly, in the whole series. He was when we're looking at statistics, he was dominating from every category: assists, rebounds, defensively. Like if we look at his, like even though he wasn't doing the scoring in this series as much as we may have liked to seen him do, he was doing way more impact in terms of other numbers that kind of went under notice. And I think Brown won the MVP earlier in the series in that game 2 when he closed it out. Hit that big shot. Even in game 3 when the Mavericks were on a comeback, he hits that clutch shot. But Tatum did what he had to do, though. Tatum, he shut me up. He shut up the critics. He won the title. He did what he had to do. And looking at this overall outcome for Boston, what were kind of your initial thoughts with it?
Well, I'll just start there. I didn't think Jaylen Brown was the Finals MVP. I know those 2 big shots changes the narrative, but Jason Tatum led the entire team in all facets of the game. And you can make the argument about the defenses. So I think both played great defensively. And Jaylen Brown, had the bigger moments on Kyrie, and he held Kyrie more than Jason Tatum did. But I think if we're looking at the full scope of what a Finals MVP is, Jason Tatum should have won that. So let's start there. And it's crazy to me. I know he was he probably in the moment, he was just excited that they won the championship. But I think, in retrospect, when he got home, it was like, that didn't compute. The math is not math, and Jason Tatum should have got the Finals MVP. Not taking anything from Jaylen Brown. He proved me wrong. I think he proved you wrong, just full scope, because we didn't understand why he got that big deal. But this year, defensively, and him being aggressive and doing things front court and back court, he kind of solidified the reasoning behind the big contract after them losing in the finals. But I knew this was going to happen. Not saying that it was going to be like intentionally be swept, but I knew that the Celtics is going to win because one, we talked about it, that it's going to be extremely difficult for the Mavericks, who's inconsistent with the 3-point shooting, which Celtics are prolific at, with them not being consistent at shooting effectively from the field. And the Celtics are prolific at it. Now, what the difference was in one of those games, I think it was game 4, all of their points came from the paint with the Mavericks. And you can't sustain that with this type of defense that the Celtics are going to brew on and start implementing and start, closing out and taking away angles and all this. You're not going to be able to get in the paint. Then what you have to rely on, your 3-point ability and your field goal making ability. And they were not consistent enough. So the Celtics played their style of basketball. The Mavericks tried to play their style of basketball, only worked one game. And Luka could have closed some of these games out. It all goes back. I think it falls back on Luka. I don't think it falls back on Kyrie. For the simple reason, it
was a disappearing act for Kyrie, man. This was a
disappearing act. But if Luka is the face of this team and he's the main scorer, he's the guy, all these things, check the boxes, a lot of people in Luka we trust, and you're one of them. He let that team down so many times more than Kyrie did. because there's opportunities to seal the games, opportunities to get back into the game, and Luka was non-existent. And you're only one-dimensional. You don't play defense. So you have to be the best scorer on your team if you're not playing defense.
Yeah. He's got to
So
step up in that category. He has to step up in that
absolutely.
category.
Absolutely, man. He has to step up next year. He's going to have to look in the mirror and change some things if they want to even remotely get close to getting back to that.
And this is kind of that reflective. I think kind of you have to really check yourself. Honestly, it's a check
Absolutely.
yourself type of moment, because it's one of those where we had high expectations for. I think most people had expectations for how Luka was going to play in this series, but when it becomes my only issue with my main issue with Luka in this series is the complaining. It was the
Oh
complaining. It
yeah.
was the not getting
Yeah.
back on defense. It
Yeah.
was just the kind of almost the entitled nature he kind of had in this series, that I thought that kind of really hurt them. And again, he's got to get in better shape. I definitely think that that's another
Absolutely.
thing we saw that, but there were so many moments in Game 3 where it just seemed as though he just was struggling to get any type of consistent quality shot. He was taking too many tough shots. It was
Yeah.
tough shot after tough shot. He was forcing it. Boston's like, okay, you can take that contested three if you want to take it. We'll live with that. But we're not going to let you get anything easy. And that's where I think the friction was, because he was like, okay, this is not going to be one of those Minnesota type series or
No.
even a OKC type series where I can just
No.
feast. He didn't feast in this series.
No.
And once he didn't, this is Dallas's main problem. Once he didn't, the others were mad silent. It was like, who else? Like, who else? It was just the Luka show. That's the problem I had with this series for them, is that it showed that they have a deficiency in the others when it comes to a
Yes.
championship. Not to get to the
Absolutely.
finals, they can do that, but to actually win, Boston's other supporting cast was so much better
Absolutely.
and just outshone them.
Absolutely. And I think Kyrie got gassed
Yeah.
through the other series, and he wasn't himself or present as he should have been. We're not giving Kyrie a pass,
Right.
but we're more so zeroing on Luka because he's the best scorer on this team.
Mm-hmm.
Like Luka is, I feel like he's the best scorer, and he's shown that. But in the big moments, he resembled another guy that we never give a pass when it comes to the postseason, and that's James Harden.
I knew that was coming.
It's similar to James Double H Harden. I don't know his middle name. So he's gonna have to get over that hump. He's got to figure some things out. But what I love about the Celtics, everybody played their part, from shooting a half court shot before half or ending the quarter, from Derek White going for the ball, missing a chip in his tooth. Like the effort that the Celtics were giving, like everybody bought in from the beginning of the season. Jason Tatum, you said it yourself that he was aggressive. He's been aggressive the second after the break. He's began to get to the hole, get to the free throw line, not settling for 3-point shots, not settling for contested shots. He's getting to the line and then developing his game and being a shark and being a headhunter. But man, the Celtics deserved this win. They looked good throughout the regular season. They showed up. They answered a lot of questions. They silenced a lot of people. And they can go on another run. They can go on another run, ladies and gentlemen. The East is still up for grabs.
It is. It definitely is. It's. I want to say with how the current landscape is looking for them, they're definitely gonna be in position again. I'm gonna be honest, man. Joe Mazzulla is such a good coach.
Absolutely.
Joe Mazzulla, I fully am on, like, in terms of giving him credit. He really he has done a fantastic job with this team, especially the circumstance. I was listening to him. He was on Zach Lowe's podcast earlier this week, and he was talking about, like, how after the Emi Udoka situation, he was like, I'm ready. like Like I've been year after year of preparation and the behind the scenes, and it's like now's my chance. And that first year, even though they make it short of the finals, they have the blueprint.
Yes.
And now it was just about them executing it. And, Tatum is 26, I believe. Brown's 27. We
Yep.
saw them. We remember, like, it felt like yesterday. It was 2018. They were in Game 7 against LeBron,
Absolutely.
and
Yep.
Tatum dunked over LeBron. Like, what
Yep.
have been your thoughts on the trajectory of them over these 7 years? And I mean, 7 years, even though it can go very quick, it's also a very long time of a lot of growth, a lot of development, and the
Absolutely.
nuts and bolts of what they had to do.
Guess what? They're entering their prime. And it's about to get nasty for the East and eventually for the West. I think the West, obviously the West is would have the better teams, but I think eventually it's gonna get nasty for the West. But for these two guys to develop in what they were, a lot of people didn't want the Celtics to draft Jaylen Brown because of his what he does outside of court, being extremely smart,
Yeah,
being into so
extremely
many
smart guy.
things, NASA, all these things. Um, they didn't think he was going to pan out and fall and be in love with basketball. That's totally not true. He's panned out. Jason Tatum is panned out. Do you look up with Derek White? You look up with Derek
Hmm.
White. You still have old Al Horford. Like there's these two guys, and what I love about the Celtics, they are not afraid to switch things around and get the right pieces there.
Yeah.
Brogdon gone. Uh, Marcus Smart gone. Like they are not afraid to mix things up to find the right team that's going to be have effort, buy in, and just be all around true winners. And the Celtics, you didn't hear really anything bad about the Celtics this year,
Hmm.
except the fans. The Celtics fans are terrible. Let that be known. Y'all guys are terrible. But
Yeah.
outside of the fans, you have not heard anything bad about the Celtics. They're all around the narrative, the mindset that's in Boston right now for the Celtics are winning mentality. And it starts with
Yeah.
those two guys. So, man, it's extremely pleasing to be wrong in this sense because Jaylen Brown really proved me wrong this year.
Yeah,
Jason
man.
Tatum,
We-
I've always been okay with him, but Jaylen Brown proved me wrong this year for sure.
Yeah, I'll never forget it. It was last summer we got
Yeah,
the notification of it,
I'm
and a
saying
year later
what
we definitely got to we definitely got to
foot
yeah, we
in that
definitely
mouth.
got to accept that one
Yeah,
and take that one back because I mean he showed that he was worth so much of that contract
yeah,
and his progression, man. Like Jaylen Brown, he's just a guy like you naturally want to root for. He seems like he's obviously so cerebral and intelligent and forward thinking off the court. And when people think that that can't like is going to take away or deter him, like no, like he showed you he's extremely locked in. Like he's focused on his craft and what he has to do. But there's other things, other interests he's going to have off the court as well. And there's as long as you are taking care of your main job. That's all that matters. But in terms of Dallas, though, what they can do next season, because the West, like you said, it's tough. Minnesota is going to be back. OKC is going to
yeah.
be back. Um, I think Denver is going to retool their bench, try to
Yes.
shape things in a better way. In terms of their outlook in that Western Conference, I definitely think they're in a position where they got to find other guys who can create their own shot and not just you know bigs and defenders. You got to find a guy like hey, like get a bucket, get a couple
Yes.
buckets when Luka and Kyrie aren't in it because once that happened, everybody was just looking around when nobody
Yes.
else was scoring with those two. Everybody else was just looking around, and that's what made it very stagnant for that offense. To you, what are kind of the things Dallas has to do in the offseason to get back to this point?
I love that you said they're gonna need some more scores, and I'll add to they're gonna need some 3-point shooting,
Mm,
consistently 3-point shooting. Maybe a veteran guy, maybe a young guy, or trade for somebody to 3-point shoot because this team right now that you mentioned is made for the 1-2 game, made to play in the middle of the court and get to the paint.
yeah,
That's what they're built for. These guys are not like create my own shot, ISO. Only two ISO guys really is Kyrie and Luka. Those are the only two guys
yeah,
could
that's
really
it.
ISO. And you're gonna need more. And JC Kidd is a great head coach. Great head coach, has an immaculate IQ for the game. But to play your style of basketball throughout the years, you're
Mhm.
going to need some 3-point shooters and guys who else outside of Luka and Kyrie to create their own shot. Defensively, they're fine. I feel like they're fine defensively. But when it comes to scoring and getting with these high scoring teams like a Pacers or like what they just lost to the Celtics, you're going to get
Yeah.
in trouble when Luka or Kyrie can't cut the mustard. You need somebody off the bench or another guy, supporting cast guy who can really shoot well behind the field, or just being able to get to their spots and be intuitive. That's what they need.
Yeah.
It's clear cut. Defense is fine. There's going to need some scores outside of Luka and Kyrie, and maybe some 3-point shooting, because their type of offense, their type of team is not going to be withstandable. And we've seen it this year in the postseason.
Exactly. The proof is in the pudding that
Yeah.
they have to get, like you said, the scoring outside of Luka and Kyrie has to go up. That's something that's just going to be really necessary for them. Um, and looking at the other teams, well, first before we move on, I do want to mention JJ Redick. He goes to he's hired officially yesterday, 4-year deal with the Lakers, and
It's too
the
long.
very interesting because the first 2 years, um, we're kind of expecting LeBron to have about 2 more years left overall in his career, or just at least that being one of the potential the potential decisions for him.
For all the
Obviously,
dogs.
AD return to for all the and then AD. I mean, when LeBron retires, who knows what his move is going to be. So you have your first 2 years, you definitely have LeBron and AD.
Yeah.
After that, it gets dark. After that, it's like, all right, what's what's this team gonna look like? And I really think with this move, it's high risk, high reward. I think
Yes.
JJ is an extremely knowledgeable guy, an extremely knowledgeable basketball mind,
Given. Yeah.
which is going to be like very interesting to see how he like designs plays. I think seeing that aspect of it is going to be very fascinating. But the part of it that always, and we mentioned this a couple episodes ago with Marlon, a few episodes ago, that we think the lack of experience is going at some point is going to come in and ruffle feathers. Players being like, hey, why should you have my respect? Why should I,
Mm.
look up to you in a sense when you got the backstage pass with LeBron? Not saying that's what happened, but some people are going to
Oh,
be
for
like,
sure.
you had the podcast, so you had to you had to say it's just the optics. It
Haven't
makes
heard anything else. Have you heard anything from the podcast?
no, it went dead silent.
That was
It went.
audition, bro.
That's
Definitely audition.
again. I want to shout out that the guy, one of the guys on the production sets, who told my brother, told Tyler, like, hey man, this was just a job interview. This was
Absolutely.
a job. And once the season died down, no more episodes. We got what we wanted. Hey, we had a short run, and you got the job. He saw once JJ brought out the whiteboard and drawing plays, and LeBron was just looking. He's like, "Yeah, this is my this is the guy. This is the guy. This is the guy I want." And LeBron is very strategic like that and does things a certain way. What were your thoughts on this announcement? And also just the pros and cons of this move.
I think offering the job to head coach from UConn was a formality. They were, because you hear the chattering. You hear the why would you hire JJ Redick? He's not ready. All these things. Okay, let's shop around and see if we can get some early interest. If we can't, if we do, good. If we can't, then I feel like JJ Redick was the guy the entire time.
That's what I think too. It was like
Yeah,
there was no the Hurley thing. That was just a placeholder, but that was
absolutely.
that was never going to be the actual move.
But we knew that he wouldn't take that position. He loves UConn, and he's as
Yes,
a dynasty. He's in like
on for a three-peat.
instituted so many things at UConn, and you think he's going to leave that for some players that really don't care, and they just offer them money and not going to like, and that pressure of being a head coach for the Lakers. So formality, just whatever. But JJ, the pros is, we talked about it with Marlon, is he has a high IQ for the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think he could come up with plays that'll get shooters open and that it will get high percentage shots for sure. But the ups the downside to that is the experience, the like you said, the players respecting him but also the the pressure. I think
Yes.
4 years is too long. 2 year deal, and then we'll see the third year, and then we'll extend you. 2 years is enough for a guy who has no experience as head coach, not like head coach anywhere, not even high school, little league,
Mm,
college. He has no coaching experience, no
at all.
coaching experience at all, and you're gonna go and be a head coach for one of the most pristine organizations in basketball history, and has so much pressure that
Hmm.
you have to deal with LeBron's last couple of years. You have to steward LeBron and AD's relationship these last couple of years. I don't feel like
Tall task.
JJ
That's a tall
is
task.
tall tech. I don't think JJ is ready for that responsibility. He's ready for the not X and O's, but the plays and the IQ and instilling something
Yeah.
and being able to foot plays and call out plays on it. He's ready for that. But it's more to being a head coach, and everything falls back on you.
Mm.
You haven't experienced that in no format. You haven't. You wasn't a general manager. Everybody's continuing to. Maybe he's the next Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr was a general manager. Steve Kerr was on the side and making sure how to get players and building rapport with players and trading
Yes.
all that stuff. That prepare him to be a coach. You have no experience. You're a player, which is cool. Every player cannot be a coach, and we're going to see. I think JJ is going to be fine on some parts, but when it gets really down and dirty, I think he's going to fold. The pressure is going to be too much for him. You
That's
got to
the
be,
thing.
yeah,
That's really the thing, man. It's just like, okay, you're on a 2-3 game winning streak. People are really crediting your basketball acumen and the plays you're drawing up. Everything looks good. But what happens when you guys get in a losing streak? When you are out of playoff contention, you're fighting for a playoff spot. You know, LeBron bumps you like he did Eric Spoelstra. No, not saying he's gonna do that, but you know, something might happen where it's like he's got to show that he's the coach, and that's where the rubber meets the road. And it's like, are you going to actually show your authority, or are you just gonna like coast along and be like, hey, like LeBron's actually the mouthpiece here. I'm just, you know, doing what most other coaches have done when that LeBron have had, and LeBron controlled them. So that part of it is that's going to be the real test. That's going to
yeah,
be the real test is the adversity part, because there is going to be a part of the season where the Lakers experience adversity and all eyes are going to be on JJ. So he's for his first job ever, man. This is
yeah.
take it. You definitely take it, but you got to understand the risk.
If he doesn't do anything differently from what Ham did with the Lakers, I'm calling BS on that hire. If he doesn't
Yeah.
do anything differently than Ham did with the Lakers, I'm calling BS on that hire. That's
Stay
crazy.
tuned. Yeah, because this could end up being the same situation as Darvin Ham.
4 years is too long for a head coach who
Yeah,
doesn't have
could have been like a
experience.
2-year deal. Could have been like, yeah,
And then we'll figure out, we'll extend you. Like, you
yeah,
got to prove yourself. Like, good game plan going in, but you're going to have to prove that you belong here. And
yes.
they gave you the keys. You know how many coaches, assistant coaches, and this is my last point, and we'll move on, wish they could be a head coach in the NBA? And a guy who doesn't have an experience gets the head coaching position for the Los Angeles Lakers?
That's so wild.
You know how many people are cussing their TV,
Oh
cussing,
man,
making phone calls, like how I didn't get the job? Like, so you have a lot of pressure, young man. We're gonna see.
podcasts.
Oh my
You think he's still gonna record the podcast?
no.
Somebody said or JJ and LeBron still gonna record during the season? That would be hilarious.
You can tell it was
That would be
weird. Like,
hilarious.
that's the two like oddest like people together for a podcast. Like,
I'm trying to see find a comparison of like how odd that would be. That's almost like that's almost like Drake and Joe Budden do. Could you imagine a podcast?
that would be comical, but
It would be
that would,
comical.
like, yeah, bro.
I would listen, but it would just be like, you guys hate each other.
Like, why y'all doing this? Like, what's the point? Does Joe Budden want you on his album or something?
I want that feature, man. I want that feature
Right.
opportunity.
That's crazy, man.
And now get into our next topic with Alex Caruso being traded to OKC. The Bulls traded him for Josh Giddey. The team announced on Friday Caruso, an all defensive guard, spent the past 3 seasons in Chicago. And it's really interesting because looking at the what Josh Giddey couldn't do, especially with not being able to knock down threes in the postseason, Caruso, he can add that kind of defensive expertise and just grittiness that I think OKC is going to need in those like deep
Hmm.
postseason runs, and obviously like championship experience. Number one thing is it's going to be noted because like look at what we just saw with Drew Holiday in the
Absolutely.
finals, and he made
Absolutely.
big play after big play. He was locking
Absolutely.
down Kyrie at points. He was just doing what had to be done. And Alex Caruso is, I mean, not putting out the same level of Drew Holiday, but he is that guy who can do the little things, the dirty work that
Oh,
doesn't get.
he's on that level.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm saying like, but you know, the fact that Drew Holiday is just 2 titles, one with the Bucks, one with some would say like Drew Holiday is above Caruso, but I think Caruso is, I don't know, man. Caruso is doing has done
Absolutely.
what has had to be done in early part of his career, so I think this is a good fit.
If he would have stayed with the Lakers, come on. Come on, man.
Yeah,
They
oh
sent
no,
him
I
to
agree.
exile. They sent him to and but the Bulls were doing good. The
Yes,
Bulls were doing good before Zach LaVine started getting banged up and LaMelo got banged up. Like they were doing really good. And I like this
this
because
is a
I
good fit.
think that's what they were missing. Somebody to check when they were in that series with the Mavericks, um, to check Kyrie consistently. And a guy who you don't have to, he can be isolation. He can guard somebody one on one. You don't need help. He can switch correctly. He's just a crumb snatcher, and then he can knock down big shots when need be and finish at the rim. So I think that's a great trade for what the OKC, and I think he can buy in. He's still a young guy. He's hip. He likes
Mhm.
headbands, like Shay. Um, so that's a bonding moment there where they can go headband shopping. Uh, so I think
Hey
he,
Shay, you going to store? You going to store?
hey, what color you want? What color you want? Man, I remember Champ Sports used to have those tall tees for
Oh,
$20,
bro,
bro.
bro.
Had every color. Oh man, I just unlocked the memory. That's crazy. But but no, I think it's a perfect pick. Still a young guy, can buy into what they're doing with OKC, makes them
Mhm.
immediately better on defense. And then
Yes.
in on offense, he can do anything. He's one of those guys. He's like a mixture of Drew Holiday, Villanova. I forgot. I'm probably messing it up. The guy from the Cavaliers who had a whole Steph Curry.
Dellavedova. Yeah,
Villanova.
Dellavedova.
Okay, I was close. He's combining him, Drew Holiday, and like it's like another scorer. He's like combined. He's like a utility guy. You could
Yes,
put
that's a
Alex
perfect word. Yeah.
Caruso in any position, anywhere. He's going to be okay or even better. So that's a great
Yeah.
pickup for them, and that's what. And they didn't have to give up that much for him.
No,
Good. Good for you, OKC.
that's OKC. Smart trade, extremely smart
Absolutely.
trade. That's one that I think is really going to help them in the long run because
Mhm.
they know they didn't make certain moves that they needed to make in the trade deadline this
Yeah.
earlier this year.
Yeah, you
That kind
mentioned
of
that.
like hindered them. That kind of hindered them from actually going further in the playoffs. So this is a really solid move. Moving on to Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. This past Sunday, they're on CNN. Like these two are on CNN. They're getting like national headlines.
It's crazy.
Second matchup, but between them, Clark's Indiana Fever beat Reese's Chicago Sky 88 to 83. Angel Reese committed the flagrant a foul against Clark that was getting a lot of attention. Uh,
For no
Reese
reason.
was like, "Come on, like that wasn't a foul." Caitlin said it wasn't anything
It
too
wasn't no flagrant.
serious. What's
Yeah.
that?
It wasn't no flagrant, but it was
Yeah, it
definitely
wasn't a
a foul.
flagrant, but of course, definitely a foul there. Um, it's so interesting that the current me and Makai talked about this, but the current discourse on Caitlin Clark, everybody has a certain stand on it. For me, I feel as though Caitlin Clark is getting a lot of. I think we have mentioned this honestly.
Yeah.
She's getting like almost kind of too much vitriol, too much hate. because I mean I think she's elevating the game in terms of viewership,
Absolutely.
more
Absolutely.
attention. Yes, she may not be playing at the level that is expected, but this is her rookie year. Like you
Yeah,
got to give it time. You got
absolutely.
to let it marinate.
Yeah.
I'm never going to put a timestamp on a player who's like this early in their career. I think she has so much more to offer. But what were your thoughts on this foul, as we were
Thank you.
saying, and also kind of the current discourse on Caitlin Clark?
Ladies and gentlemen, the WNBA, just because you first start watching it recently, these ladies have been physical for years.
Yes,
Before
very
this
true.
young group of women joined the WNBA, these women has been physical throughout the WNBA tenure. That was a foul. Going for the ball, misplacement. It wasn't like her hand went down. Her hand was up and the Westcom hit. It wasn't like she went down trying to like aggressively like
Yeah,
Draymond Green
yeah,
or
it wasn't like
like
that.
it wasn't intentional. And I agree with Robert Griffin III. They're putting a racial thing on these two women when it's not existent. These are two competitors.
They're trying to do the Bird and Johnson.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
It's not that.
it's
These are
not
two
like as much as y'all trying to
competitors.
recreate it. It's not that. Yeah,
That's bad publicity for WNBA. They have been getting good publicity with this new, and I agree. I forgot his name. This is not the best rookie class of WNBA. Let's come on, ladies and gentlemen. This is not the best WNBA class ever. They're not the best. There's been plenty of rookie classes in the WNBA that was better. They just bring more publicity because it's there now.
exactly.
That's the difference. They're not playing any different from another rookie class. It's the exact same. It's just the publicity. So
Hmm.
Caitlin Clark is getting it because of the rival that she had with Angel Reese in college. And she's more happened to be more exciting because of her three-point shooting. If Angel Reese can shoot like Caitlin Clark, it
Yeah.
would be different. People want to see three-point shooting. WNBA, NBA, the game has changed. Everybody wants to see three-point shooting, deep three-point shooting, shooting at the half court. Luka shooting crazy shots right before games and pre warm-ups and stuff. That's what the
Yeah.
game is going to. Excitement. Like baseball, people want to look at home runs. People want to see double plays, triple plays, excitement. That's
Hmm.
why Caitlin Clark is as popular as she is. If she was not a three-point shooter, she would not be as popular. So do not make it a racial thing. It's not that. But that wasn't a flagrant. That was non-intentional. The media is trying to make something what it isn't, and they do that all the time. And that's what it is, bro. It was a bang bang play, happened to hit harder than what it should. No ill intentions. And that's crazy, man. Yeah. They're gonna have to figure that out.
Can't force something that's not there. It's just
Absolutely.
it's not. That's kind of the the thing we're seeing with this is them trying to force something that it doesn't exist.
No,
Bird and Larry Bird and Magic
that
Johnson,
was
ladies and
totally
gentlemen, was
different.
such a different
That was
dynamic. That
definitely
was
true.
it was true. Yeah, that
Yo,
was all
Bird was
true.
terrible person, bro.
Yeah, man. That was all true. If you watch Winning Time on
Terrible
HBO
person.
Max, you will
Yeah,
see
bro.
some of the things
Yeah.
that Bird was actually saying.
Bird's terrible person, bro.
Bro, he's so bad. He's so bad, man. So
Yeah.
you don't know these people. I'm just gonna say this. You don't know these people. You don't know
No.
these people, man. You see what they do on the court, but you really don't know.
I see why
So,
Westcott used to be Kareem Punch Buddy.
oh
It
my
was,
goodness, man.
man, listen, bro. They used to go at it. And it was in the 70s too, bro. Yeah, man. That was real. This is not that. Don't muddy
Yeah,
the
don't
water,
muddy the
man.
waters. Don't muddy the waters.
Mm-mm.
But man, we got to talk about Mr. Gervonta Davis.
Tank
Mr.
tank.
Mr. Tank, man. It's what he did against Frank Martin this past Saturday. He knocked out Frank Martin with the left hand at 129 of the 8th round to successfully defend his WBA lightweight championship. This was his first fight since April 2023 against Ryan Garcia, who was also in the headlines. We're gonna mention him afterwards, but bro, Tank he's on a run. It's so interesting to me. Like, what's so fascinating about him in the earlier rounds is just how much he's willing to like lose early rounds and be under the cards and just kind of like see what you're gonna do, size you up. But as is, I always get his trainer's name wrong. I think it's Calvin Ford, but he said he's just collecting the data. He's just
Yes.
collecting the data, and that's what he does, and he builds up to it. I recently said earlier in the week, which I got some hate for it, but it's all good. I said best fighter in the world, Terrence Crawford. I got a lot of pushback. A lot of people said Terrence Crawford, which
Wait a minute.
I mean you can say that as well. But I think Tank is like he's at a box office level, a superstar level that I think we kind of want to see that that big mega fight where the other person isn't afraid of him. I think Frank Martin at certain parts is like, okay, he tired himself out and he's like, okay, I'm vulnerable now. Ryan Garcia, a second fight against Ryan Garcia, that would be very. I mean, it can't happen, for a year since Ryan Garcia's suspended, so he's out of the picture. But 2025, hey, he's back outside. So,
Nah, he ain't.
but I think in terms of, but before I hear your thoughts on this, I think Lomachenko or Shakur Stevenson would be the next intriguing fight.
Probably Shakur.
Um, yeah, probably Shakur, but I also think Lomachenko would be a tough matchup for him, and I would still favor Tank, but I think those two would be the top names, and I know Teofimo Lopez has been mentioned as well. But to you,
Mm-hmm.
what were your thoughts on this win for Tank, and also kind of who his next competitor could be?
Lopez isn't ready. I saw his interview. I don't feel like he's ready. I think Shakur is one that matches well with Tank. I think that'll
Mm-hmm.
be a good fight. Um, but man, I already knew Tank was gonna knock him down. Well, knock him out. I thought it was probably like ninth round instead of the eighth round because
Yeah.
he started off sluggish and he started off really slow. And again, collecting data, he doesn't mind getting hit. Doesn't mind. It's the difference between like getting hit, like um, dang, his name escaped me, bro. Uh, Mexican dude,
Canelo?
Canelo. Thank you.
Yeah.
Canelo gets hit.
Yes.
Tank
Yeah, he does.
gets in the fire to fill you out and see what you're gonna do if he yeah, so he's collecting the data, and then like the fifth round, he started turning it on. He started walking him down, get him to the ropes, and then he just finished it in eighth round. And Martin guy had nothing for him. He tired himself out. His game plan stopped working probably after the third round, and after that, his IQ is not as high as Gervonta's, and it's
Hmm.
definitely known because he set him up like the little side step and then he hit him with an uppercut,
Yes.
and then you could tell
Yes.
he was dazed on the West comp, and that last punch just like was the cherry on top. The buddy was already dazed, buddy didn't know where he
Oh yeah.
was, and then he got hit with that. He was just like, "Oh heaven."
Evan, Evan is crazy. Pearly gates.
Oh, brother guys, oh, this is what it looks like. Revelations. um, my boy had a vision of heaven. What?
Do you want to go?
Yeah, man. Hey, man. But yeah, Shakur. The Lopez guy's not ready yet. Um, who's the other guy you mentioned?
Lomachenko,
Lomachenko. I think
tough fighter.
get
Tough
another
fighter.
fight. He needs one more fight, and I think he'll be
Yeah.
there. He'll be there with Tank. Like, because I don't want these guys to be. Somebody got to beat Tank. Tank and Vince is gonna lose.
Yeah, man, that's gonna be a sad day. It's gonna be a
He's
sad
not gonna get knocked out,
day. Yeah,
but
but he's
he's
gonna like
gonna
lose it. I
lose
could see him like lose a
to decision.
good decision. Yeah, go to the
Yeah,
scorecard.
I just don't see nobody knocking Tank out. But I feel like eventually, or it might be a Mayweather thing where he does not lose. But I think him and Mayweather are totally different fighters. Tank
And
is
that's
not
the
a
one thing.
defense. Yeah,
Yeah,
Mayweather is a defense fighter for sure and a counter puncher. Tank could be that, but he'd rather take it to you and then get the data. After he got the data, all right, I'm about to take it to you. I'm about to walk you down. I'm about to get you. But Mayweather's IQ is like guy has the highest IQ I think ever in boxing. Period.
Some people have a problem, and I've talked to some people about it. They have a problem with that dehydration clause that Tank did to Ryan Garcia, and for me personally, I think he wins either way, man. I think Tank was the better fighter. I'm not gonna say the dehydration. Now, I'm not like downplaying what that can do. Like,
but he's
you know what I
affected
mean?
too.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is what people are failing to realize. It's not just the other fighter. He has to abide by that too, dummies. What's going on? You act like it's one-sided. Like in the contracts, he has to abide by the dehydration clause as well. And then Ryan or whoever the fighter can say some things in that contract that he has to abide by.
Oh, for sure.
So,
Yeah.
like, when people bring that up, I'm like, yo, act like he's the other fighter is the only one affected. Ryan Garcia. Tank came in the ring looking like a skeleton, too.
Yeah, man. Those boys were looking like malnourished.
Ryan was definitely malnourished because he never had to do that before.
Yeah.
But Tank, y'all think because, he's used to it because he's in Westcom camp. So he has to do that all the time. Because I think Mayweather has that in his clause.
Yes, Mayweather has that.
So if you're part of the money team, that's a smart move because now my body's used to being dehydrated. I've trained this way. Now it looks like hey, if you can't train your body to be dehydrated and still be able to put the whammies on you, who fault is that?
Got to look in the mirror. Got to look in the mirror after that one, man. Because look, that is a tough thing to go through.
Absolutely.
When I see stuff like that, I'm like, nah, that's why boxing's not for me. I can't do it. Like certain stuff like that, I'm like, I'm good. Y'all got that one. Y'all
die from cutting and dehydrating your body like that, man. You can really die from that.
Yeah.
But that's why brutal. That's why they're in this sport. That's why they make millions.
And honestly, when we look at Tank, like you said, he is going to eventually lose a fight.
Absolutely.
But
I think so.
I don't think it's gonna be anytime soon.
No.
I don't think it's gonna be anytime soon. I think like he's currently, I think 29 or 30. He really is at his. I think he's at his prime.
Absolutely.
Like, where would you rate him in terms of like his like tech, like, you know, clinical prime?
Like when did it start, or
yeah. Like when do you think it started in terms of like when he was like, okay, like Tank is just like at a level where he's just going after
when he
after opponent.
When he beat I forgot his name. Was it he punched like he faked and hit him and dude fell into the ropes?
Yeah, was it Romero?
Yeah, Romero. I think that's because Westcom was really tagging him.
Yes. He
had
him a lot of points. He had him a lot of points.
He lost a couple of rounds before that. And I think that's when I realized, okay.
It was Rolly.
Rolly. He can get into the fire and then he can figure it out. And that was early on. I think that was like 5th or 6th round when he knocked him out. So that's why I felt like that's his prime. Because you face the fire, you got the ultimate test. And he said, buddy can hit. Because Tank was like, he in the interview, he was like, who he was like, man, Ryan, he hit hard. Because one of them punches got clean. He was like, ooh. And he had to move. So every once in a while, like Floyd Mayweather got rocked twice by Sugar Shane in that fight. I think it was the second round. He got hit twice. So those type of fighters are going to eventually get hit, but that's the test though. That's the test. Can you figure it out? And can you adjust? I think that's when he went in his prime. And then when he beat Ryan Garcia, I was like, okay, it's going to be hard to beat Tank. You're going to have to be sharper and you have to pick your hits with Tank. You have to really, when he's collecting data, that's when you're going to have to be hitting him and collecting data too. Okay, this is how he is when I throw these shots or I'm throwing a collective of shots. He's just like weaving and he's trying to figure out your timing. So that's basically what he's doing. Figuring out your timing, figure out how, when you get tired, how low you drop your hands or where your hand placement is. And that's all he's doing. And then he's figuring out. So, And then he has good cardio too.
Oh, for
Tank
sure.
Tank has
Yeah,
good cardio.
really
I've
good
rarely
stamina.
see Tank be like tired in the ring.
Yeah, that's so
I
great.
don't see him
I
tired.
haven't seen it. I really haven't seen it. I'm just like I'm waiting for that fight where he's starting it, bro. That man
Like
is
even the Ryan
locked, man.
Garcia, Buddy was like, Coach was trying to talk to him. He was like, "Mama, what about this mama?" Buddy was like happy. Buddy wasn't breathing hard, nothing. It's gonna be extremely difficult to beat Tank. But when he gets in a fire and he's collecting data, that's your chance. You have to hit him. You have to tag him in those moments. Because when he starts after that, it's gonna be hard to beat him. You're not gonna win many rounds.
No. There was a story before the like I think the night before the fight that Tank was like in a CVS and this fan like saw him and like they asked him like, hey, like man, like you know what round are you gonna get the knockout in? And he said, I think it's gonna be the eighth. And the fan he like bet on the eighth. I was like, oh man, you got the insights. Tank was just getting some snacks. He was just chilling. He's like, all right, I'll give you the prediction, eighth round. I was like,
Eighth
man,
round is crazy to predict. That means when you predict that, that means you're studying this
you're
dude.
studying him,
Oh, so he gets
and
tired around round 5 or 6.
that's he's looking at that, and he also said like, when they had like the face off, he said, man, you really took this fight too early. He said you really took it too early. He's like, you should have waited, should have waited. And it was like, man, he's just this dude is just a studier of
Film
a
on film, man.
man.
Money Mayweather being your mentor, bro. You're gonna get a lot of stuff from that, man.
I am disappointed that we've lost the all access thing where we can like see the behind the scenes of these fighters
Yeah,
because that's the one thing I'm like, man, that used to be the go to like the preparation fight after fight. You know, they do the part one, the part two, the part three. Now we just gotta like,
wait until the day
yeah,
of. Yeah,
it
bro,
sucks.
it sucks.
Those were the joints though. Those were really the joints. I mean, all access was so good. And another headline in boxing: Ryan Garcia suspended 1 year. His legal team made a settlement agreement with the NYS AC. He's agreed to the following suspension of all the including the 1 year, the forfeiture of his 1.1 million official contract purse. Goes to GB. Haney may get a percentage, also a 10K fine, state max. Then the fight is officially a no contest. He did say that this wasn't in his nature to do. He didn't do it intentionally, but I mean, it is what it is at this point. You still gotta take the suspension, take the fine. What are your overall thoughts on this decision and just the outcome of it?
You lied. You double down on your lie. Then you probably falsify a report saying that you were tested negative, and then now they come back with this. You deserve more than 1 year,
Honestly.
for sure. I don't know if it was intentional or not. If it was intentional, if it wasn't intentional, you should have came out. Okay, I did test positive for it.
Yeah.
It probably been less than a year, and you probably could have kept your purse with $1 million.
Mm.
And now everybody said, "Oh, you didn't beat him fair and square, or you didn't knock him out fair and square." All these things, you know what I mean? So now all that's all for nothing, and you didn't make weight. So if you would have made weight, you would have took the belt, then had to give the belt back.
Yeah.
So this is a crap show in the beginning. He should get more than a year, and then you want to fight Tank again?
Oh no.
You're the back of the line, buddy. The back of the line. Crazy. He deserved more than a year. Then doubled down, made a video, and then falsified a report saying that he tested negative, that it was all not true. Because there's reports going out, because we talked about it, like, oh
Yes.
yeah. And then now, officially, well, you tested positive. It don't matter what it is, you test. Why are you taking it? You could have beat him without taking that crap.
Yeah. That's the
Because
thing. That's the gripping part about it, and just like the confusing part about it is like, come on, like you didn't even have to have that to beat him. Like
no.
we know you could have done it, and man, it's a really bad look. He said on his Twitter, he said they take my victory away. It's okay, I'm retired. I'll come back in a year. I'm headed to the UFC. For real, Dana White, hit me up. Like, so he needs his social media taken away, honestly. He's like on Twitter way too much. He's
There's
just
no
saying
censor.
random thing after random thing. It's
No
just
censor.
it's crazy, bro. He got in I think he got into altercation at the Tanks fight with Caleb Plant, and then said some kind of insensitive things about Caleb's wife. He's just out of control, man. I think the thing is he's this year he's away. He's really got to restructure. I mean, if he's willing to listen, restructure his image. Bro, just go silent. Don't post as much. You know, you should have a social media team that like really kind of just monitors what you're putting out, because he's just doing like, nah, I'm good. I'm cooking. I'm gonna put out like 15 tweets a day. And the thing is, he had such a good fight. He had such a good win against Haney. Like, we should be talking about the good he's doing in the ring. But now the banned substance, and then this, it's just, if it's not one thing, it's another, man. So it's just adding on.
Tragedy.
Ryan. All right, we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back.